Hola mi gente, welcome back to my channel. Happy 2021. I know it's been a little while since I posted something, but we're up and running. I'm excited to be sharing with you all the budgeting method that has changed my life completely. I know it's February, y'all, but it's never too late to start organizing and planning all of the money that you work so hard to make. If you haven't done so already, I recommend you watch my video on why I started to get my finances in order and the steps I've taken to save money and pay off debt. Okay, so budgeting. If you do a quick Google search on different budgeting methods, you will soon notice there are a bunch of methods out there. However, one particular method could work well if you are just getting started with budgeting. This particular method involves creating a budget by paycheck. This method can help take some of the overwhelm out of the conventional monthly budget. Now, obviously, if you get paid on a monthly budget, you will make a monthly budget because the whole method is to budget by paycheck. What I love most about the budgeting by paycheck method is that you will get a super clear understanding of the money coming in and out of your bank account. Also, you'll be able to avoid overdraft fees once and for all due to more frequent planning. Now, how can this be beneficial? How does this help you? Well, using the budget by paycheck method is a great way to get started with money management and begin embracing healthy financial habits. As I said earlier, this gives you a clear understanding of where each dollar is going. So budgeting can also keep you from running out of money before you get paid again. In this case, when that time of the month comes when you're low on money, this is where you start using money from your savings, you start swiping that credit card just to compensate because your debit account is running super low because you just had money coming out of there, but there was no type of organization of where that money was intended to be used for. If you know exactly which expenses will come out of each paycheck, you can make sure that you aren't spending more than it is actually available for you to use. Another thing to think about is that many people put expenses on a credit card and then don't pay it off each month. This can become a problem because you're spending money you actually haven't even earned yet. And it gets even worse when you spend more money on your credit card than you'll earn to pay it off. Budgeting by paycheck can help fix that. So let's go over the tools and worksheet I've created to help me organize all of my money. Let's get started. So before I show you the calendar and the budget sheets, I want to go over an example first so that we can have some numbers to relate to when we put them on the budget sheet and on the monthly calendar. The example that I'm going to be showing today is for a bi-weekly budget, so a person that gets paid every other week, and for a single income household. Andy lives by herself with her dog. So single income means that she only has one income. So let's say that you have a full-time job and you do Uber on the side or a side hustle, you have two incomes. Or if you live with a spouse or with a partner, it will be a double income household. But for now, for this example, and to make it as simple as possible, we're gonna go with a single income bi-weekly budget. If you get paid on a weekly basis, you'll do a weekly budget. If you get paid on a bi-weekly basis, you'll do a bi-weekly budget. If you get paid on a monthly basis, so once a month, you'll do a monthly budget. Before we proceed with giving you examples of her numbers, we want to state Andy's goals first. Her first goal is to save $1,000 of an emergency fund. Now for Andy, this works best for her situation. Let's say for you, if you are a family of 3 or 4, or if you and your partner want to save more than just $1,000, you can do so. Everyone's goals are different. For Andy, her goal is at least $1,000. Her second goal is to save for yearly expenses without relying on a savings account, her checking account cushion, or a credit card. Now this is what sinking funds are for, which is a savings fund that you use for short-term goals. So for example, yearly expenses. A great example could be car maintenance. She knows that she has to do car maintenance for her car every year, or maybe twice a year. So she does not want to use her savings account or her checking account cushion or a credit card every time this expense comes up. So she wants to start saving now so that she can avoid using her savings or swiping a credit card for when that expense comes around. So she wants to start doing that. Her third goal is to pay debt. And her fourth goal is to save for a big travel trip. Now, everyone's goals are different. For example, if you want to save for a down payment for a house, if you want to save for a down payment for a car, these are all goals that you should state now, because you want your budget to reflect your goals. You want your budget to work with your goals so that you can attain them properly and in a timely manner. I wanted to state here her monthly income. Her monthly income is $2,700, which comes with every paycheck to $1,350. We're gonna focus on the month of February. She will get paid February 5th and February 19th. It's important for you to look at your month and determine what are your pay dates, when do you expect income to come in, because this will better help you when it comes to doing your budget. The next step that Andy did was list all of her bills and her fixed expenses on a dated list. So based on what bills will come first to the bills at the end of the month, she listed all of those on a day-to-day basis. So on the first of the month, her Apple memory storage payment comes out at $299. In the middle of the month, she has her Spotify, her Netflix, pet insurance. The end of the month, rent, electricity bill, and so forth. You also want to note on the side the amount of each bill, so that at the end you can have a total amount and that you can realize on a bigger picture basis, wow, I pay $1,654 just of bills and fixed expenses. This also makes you realize, like, okay, so for example, Andy gets paid $2,700 a month. Out of the $2,700 a month, $1,653.99 are bills and fixed expenses that will be coming out of her paycheck. Next, you want to list out your variable expenses. And here I put cash envelopes because as a cash envelope user, all of these expenses I use in cash. And I put them on the side in my cash envelopes. So here you're gonna have to really think about, okay, what do I want to spend on a monthly basis for groceries, home, health and beauty, gas, eating out, miscellaneous, pet, whatever. These expenses are very personalized. So you obviously, if you don't have a pet, you won't budget for a pet. If you don't want to do any health and beauty, but you want to do personal expenses for yourself, you could do that. These are customizable. Everyone's variable expenses will differ depending on what their situation is. With variable expenses, you want to be realistic. You don't want to over budget yourself because you have to remind yourself of your goals. And you also don't want to restrict yourself too much. So you have to be realistic in your goals. So for Andy, having a $150 budget for her groceries is good enough, which that comes out to every paycheck. She's going to take out $75 per paycheck bi-weekly. Now again, this is another example. If you are a family of 4 or 5 or even 2 people, and you know that 150 obviously won't do, you will increase this amount based on your needs. So for gas, for example, if you commute to work every day, obviously your gas budget probably will be different and higher. And another example of being realistic is that Andy obviously knows that there's some days that she won't want to cook, that she will want to eat out or order Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever. So she made an eating out variable expense. This expense, you can either take it out in cash or have it sitting in your bank account. So you want to list out the total monthly variable expenses are. For her, it's $450. So every paycheck, when she gets paid, $225 will go to her variable expenses. Next, we want to list out your savings goal. Again, everyone's savings goal is different. For Andy, she wants to start her emergency fund of $1,000. Second, she wants to build up her checking account cushion to $300. So what is a checking account cushion? A cushion means that this is money that is left in your checking account just to have a buffer to protect yourself of bills higher than normal or unplanned online purchases. So this is just money that is sitting in your bank account, in your checking account, just in case anything comes up. If a bill came out higher than usual or than what you budgeted for, you have your checking account cushion to save your butt. Again, checking account cushions, everyone should be different. Sometimes $300 won't do for a family of 4. Some people would say, I feel that $1,000 is better to have as a checking account cushion. You do not want to just take out $1,000 from a check and just leave it there and start your checking account cushion. No, you want to build up to it slowly so that you do not put your other goals aside. You want to make sure that while you're going through your budget, that all of your goals are being met little by little. Even if it's $15 a paycheck, even if it's $8 a paycheck, you will build up to it. Second, she has listed all of her sinking funds. Now again, everyone's sinking funds options are different. As noted in her initial goals, she wants to start saving for a big travel trip. So her number 1 sinking fund goal is travel. Her second one is car maintenance. Third is Amazon Prime because she pays for that annually. Clothing, she knows that she doesn't buy clothes every week, but she wants to start saving money towards clothes now so that she doesn't have to swipe a card whenever she goes to Target or the mall to buy clothes. So gifts will be helpful for her because she knows that she has many friends and family that have birthdays or other special events. So this really saves her butt. She knows that she wants to start saving now so that when a birthday or a special event comes around, she can use this cash envelope for that expense. Now holidays, for Andy, this will be useful because she wants to start saving now for 4th of July, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. And 7, hair salon. For Andy, she does her hair every year. She likes to do something different, either highlights, dye it, whatever. This expense does come up at least once or twice a year, so she wants to start saving for it now so that again, she won't touch her savings or her checking account cushion when that time comes around. So this table right here shows how she will be saving towards these every month. These won't be just random amounts that she puts in these funds. She has it all calculated. So for example, she wants to take a travel trip in March of 2022. She wants to save at least $1,500 from now till then for that traveling trip. So she calculates, okay, from now to March, it'll be 13 months. So she knows that every month she has to be saving at least $116, which means that for every paycheck, since she gets paid bi-weekly, she'll be taking out of her paycheck $58 towards this sinking fund. The same goes for her Amazon Prime. So she knows that her Amazon Prime subscription gets deducted from her banking account every December of the year. She wants to start saving now so that in December of this year, she is ready with those $120. So she calculates, okay, from now to December, I have 11 months. Every month, I'm going to be saving $11 towards this sinking fund. And since I get paid bi-weekly, I'm going to be taking out $6 out of every paycheck to make sure that I have $120 by December in 2021. Same thing goes for car maintenance. For car maintenance, she is calculating it that she does it twice a year. Her next car maintenance, she knows that it might be around the summer of this year. So that's in 5 months. So between now and June, there's 5 months. So she wants to save to get to this $150 goal is $30 a month. And for every paycheck, she'll be taking out $15 towards this savings. For clothing, gifts, holidays, and hair salon, I did not have a due date because these can randomly come throughout the year. She can randomly use this. Her goal is, I want to at least start saving $300 towards clothing. So for her, realistically, she says, you know what, $40 a month for me to save towards clothes is fine. So that means that every paycheck, she's going to take out $20. The same for gifts, the same for holidays, and the same for hair salon. And that's how you calculate how much you'll be taking out of your paycheck towards your sinking funds every paycheck. So next, and the final step, is to list all of your debts. As you can see, Andy has 3 debts, which is her car loan, her Discover credit card, and her Target credit card. She listed all of the amounts that she owes for each account. And it's important that you do this while you're doing your budget because you want to know how much you owe from each account and list them. It's important for you to see what you owe. This just gives you a better idea of, okay, wow, like I really need to hit these goals, or okay, it's great to see how much you owe out of all of your accounts because it puts things in perspective. She jotted down here her priority. Her number one priority is her Target credit card. Her second one will be her car loan, and her third will be her Discover credit card. And if you noticed, she focused on the debt that is the smallest first, and then she'll do the second largest and then the third. Everyone could do it differently. Sometimes people like to focus on the debts that have the highest interest first and then go from there. But in this case, she wants to handle her lowest debts first and then move up from there. To reiterate, this is the budget method, the paycheck budget method that I use. First, you want to look at all of your paychecks and pay dates. You want to list those down. Then you want to list all of your expenses, all of them. Your fixed expenses, your bills, and your variables, like your groceries, your miscellaneous, your gas, eating out, and so forth. Next, you want to list your sinking funds. What do you want to save for that are short-term goals? And you also want to list out your savings goals, your bigger money goals. Fourth, you want to then tally up your debt and prioritize based on your preferred strategy. So do you want to pay for the smallest debt first and then move forward from there? Or do you want to pay the debt that has the highest interest first and then go down from there? Whatever your preferred strategy is should be fine. Next, and which I'll be showing you these steps now, is grab your blank calendar and then assign each expense to a paycheck. And sixth is use your budget sheet to list all of your expenses, your savings, and debts, and here you will assign each dollar to a place of use. And lastly, I just want to reiterate, my goal when I budget is to create a zero-based budget. And this means that every dollar of your paycheck will have a place to go. So at the end of your budget, we don't want to have just a couple dollars sitting over. No. The goal is to assign every dollar to a place. Every single dollar will have a place of use. Okay, so here we have the monthly budget calendar. Now this calendar, it gives me a better view of all of my bills, my pay dates, and anything that is happening money-wise in the month of February. So the numbers that I used on the calendar are from Andy's example. I used all of her bills, her debts, her fixed expenses, and her paydays. Essentially, the budget calendar is used to figure out what bills and expenses you want to pay with each paycheck. And if you notice, I use the highlighter method when it comes to my calendar. As you can see, you want to include any paydays and paychecks that you'll be receiving for the month. And I like to highlight all incoming checks and the bills that I'll cover with that paycheck the same color. So if you see here, Andy gets paid February 5th. So I have boxed this first paycheck in an orange highlighter. So then I'm going to highlight all of the bills that I'll be using to pay with this paycheck. These first two bills, and then there's nothing here. And then next, these two bills, and then again, the next paycheck. This paycheck I'll be using to pay these expenses for the rest of the week up until whatever is coming up until the next paycheck. So this paycheck will be covered to use February expenses and the first couple of bills from March, because she doesn't get paid again until March the 5th. So you want to make sure that you're just not budgeting February expenses. You want to budget everything that will be debited out of your account up until the next paycheck. You want to make sure it's very important. So another important thing to note is if you want to also include any appointments or holidays, anything that needs to be on your budget should be included on your budget calendar. That way you don't forget to include anything. So for example, if Andy had a nail appointment on the 12th, it's important that she adds that to the budget calendar, because that way she knows I have to make sure that I budget for that appointment on the 12th using this paycheck. So let's say if she doesn't have enough money saved in her variable expense envelope, she probably needs to budget for a little bit more money this time just because she has that nail appointment on the 12th. This is a great way to budget and plan ahead. Another thing I want to note is that once a bill has been paid, I put a check mark next to the bill. And when that bill clears my bank account, I scratch it out. So this means I no longer have to worry about that bill because I know it's been paid for already. But it's really important that the budget calendar includes all of your monthly bills, the bills that you pay month to month, your fixed expenses, and the bills that hardly never change go on this calendar. Same with your appointments and holidays. So you decide how you want to highlight. It is up to you. It's going to be different for everybody. So let's say if you get paid once a month, for example, you get paid every first. You know that all of your bills are going to be highlighted the same color because you only get one paycheck a month. So simply using this calendar will help you keep track of when your bills are due and when you expect them to be paid. Okay, so here is my budget worksheet. Here's where I track all of my bills, expenses, savings, and debts that will be paid using each paycheck. Now, if you get paid weekly or every other week or monthly, I encourage you to use a worksheet every single time you receive a paycheck. If you get paid twice a month, you'll need 2 worksheets. If you get paid once a month, you'll use 1 worksheet. So on top of the worksheet, you'll write down the month, the paycheck date, and also your income. There's enough space here for you to add a couple of incomes if you have a main income and then your side hustle, or if there's 2 incomes, if you're counting both you and your partners. Whatever it is, there is enough space here for that. Then you're going to jot down the total. If you know exactly what your pay is going to be, then go ahead and write that exact amount on top. If you don't know what your pay will be, since it might vary, I suggest using the worst case scenario. What is the least amount you think you're going to be receiving? That way it's a lot easier to work with your expenses and your budget using income amount that is lower than expected. So if you end up receiving more money than expected, then that's great. Then you can plan that in your budget as you go. Next step is write down all of your bills, all of your fixed expenses. We are using Andy's example again. Based on the calendar, this is based off of this paycheck, the $13.50. So here we're gonna list from the first to the last bill that will be paid using this paycheck. So we list the bills and their amounts on the side. And also here, you want to include your cushion, the cushion that she's building up towards. And last, she also is saving for her rent from this paycheck. So she jots $490. So it's great. It's already the first week of the month and she already has half of her rent for the month of February. Then you jot down the total. Next, you're going to list all of your variable expenses. And as stated initially here, these are her variable expenses. And every week, she's going to be taking out this amount based off her monthly budget that she made. She's going to take out these every single paycheck. And then the total. Next, she is going to list down all of her sinking funds. Just as a reminder, here are her sinking funds, and these are the amounts that she's going to take out every paycheck. She lists that all down there. She has a total amount. So next, it's the extra debt section. So as you can see here, she paid her minimum amount due. She's not making any extra debt payments. Why? Because right now she's focusing on her savings goal, on her $1,000 emergency fund. Once she reaches this $1,000 emergency fund, she can then focus on paying her debt. Let's say she has already saved her $1,000 of her emergency fund. She will then pay the minimum, and then any extra debt that she can pay towards her Target card, she will write here. But in this case, at this moment, she is still focusing on her emergency savings goal. She's gonna skip over her debt because she's not taking care of that right now. She's focusing on her savings. So then she's going to write down her emergency savings and how much she is going to save towards that emergency sinking fund. And she writes the total. And again, I work with a zero-based budget. So meaning the total amount at the end should equal to 0. If you get your total income minus the totals of your bills, of your envelopes, of your sinking funds, any debt, and of your savings, all of this should equal to 0. Meaning every single dollar from your paycheck had a place to be and went somewhere and is being used for something. Here, she wrote down a goal that she has or any thought that she has for this paycheck for these next 2 weeks. She is able to save $256 without depriving any other goals and any of her personal expenses. And she still took care of her bills, and she was still able to save at least half of her rent. And she was still able to save $256. Amazing. So her second paycheck, based on the budget calendar, will be on the 19th of February. Her paycheck is estimated to be $1,350. And these are all of the bills that she needs to take care of using this paycheck. She listed all of her bills from the middle to the end of the month. She included her cushion. Again, that was one of her savings goals. So here she's also listed the 2 first bills of March. Why? Because she won't get paid again until the 5th. So she wants to make sure that this paycheck is covering any bills that are coming out the next 2 weeks up until this next paycheck. She wants to make sure that she has money for this, that she budgets herself for these 2 expenses. She included that in her bills. Next, per usual, her variable expenses, nothing has changed. Same for sinking funds. She saved for that, great. She didn't make any extra debt payments because again, she's focusing on her savings. And after calculating, she only has $12 left over for her emergency savings, which is something. Don't think, this is one thing I want to make a note of. Only because you're not saving big amounts or huge amounts every paycheck, don't get discouraged by that. Think about it. Andy saved $256 this first paycheck. She is still working towards that goal. Even if it's $6 at a time or $12 at a time, she is still working towards her goal. Something is something. After calculating her total income minus the totals of each section, she has a zero-based budget, which means every dollar went towards something. Next, let's discuss the expense trackers. I love tracking all of my expenses. And the real and most important reason to track your spending is to create financial awareness. If you don't know where your money is going or how you spent it, you can't identify which habits you can change to make your money work for you. In this step, I also use the highlighter method. Now, we can talk for days on how to track your spending, which includes your starting balance and how to close your budget at the end of the month using your expense tracker. But what I really wanted to show you in this video is the highlighter method. So on this tracker, you're going to track every dollar of your spending. Here you track any account where there is money movement. Whether you're using cash or your debit account, you want to keep track of everything. This tracker she used for her cash. So any money that she's using out of her variable expenses, and if she used anything out of her sinking funds, it'll be tracked in her cash expense tracker. Because at the end of every month, you want to know what you spent on every budget category. So for example, I track it from the first day of the month to the last day of the month. Your tracking period is up to you. If you get paid on the 15th of the month, maybe your tracking period is from the 15th of the 15th of the next month. But in her case, she tracks it based on a monthly basis, on a monthly period. So she'll track it from the first to the end of the month. It is all based on when you get paid. So you have to do what's easiest for you when it comes to tracking your spending. So back to the highlighter method. The highlighter method is a visual way to see your expenses based on categories. So for example, all of Andy's savings are highlighted in yellow. All of her utilities are highlighted in green. So car insurance, and she includes her Spotify and her Netflix and her pet insurance under utilities, just to have it all in one category. All of her debt payments are highlighted in blue. Her groceries, since she's a cash spender in variable expenses, her groceries are highlighted in pink, and her health and beauty is purple. I also want you to note that I don't use an expense tracker per paycheck. Here you will track the whole month worth of expenses. So at the end of the month, you will combine all total expenses from each tracker, whether it's your checking account or your cash expense tracker, you are going to add all of your expenses based on their categories, and you'll have a visualization of how much money you spent on each category. Another question you might have is, what should your budget categories be? Your budget category reflects on what your spending and expenses are on a monthly basis. So for example, if you want to take a look at your previous banking statements and see what your spending trends are, you want to do a category based on those expenses. For Andy, she notices based on her past statements is that I spend money in gas, I save, I spend money in groceries, I spend money for stuff for my house, for my apartment. I spend money on things for my personal use, makeup, soap, toothpaste. I spend money on eating out, whether it's Uber Eats or going out to eat. And I spend miscellaneous stuff. You want to create budget categories based on your spending. So guys, in summary, these are the 3 main trackers that I use for my budget. My monthly calendar, my budget worksheets, and my expense trackers. These are the 3 trackers that have changed my life when it comes to personal finances. Using this will help you achieve your goals. Using this will help you plan ahead and budget yourself. Make your money work for your goals. So all of these sheets that I've showed you, the budget calendar, the budget worksheet, and the expense trackers, are all available for purchase. If you are interested, you can contact me on Instagram, Nicky DM me, send me a message, and I will give you all the details of the prices and how you can access them. For the budget calendar, I have different designs. I have this miscellaneous one. I have the summer season. I have a flower design. So I have a variety of budget calendars. It's not just the same one. All the worksheets are the same, and the expense trackers as well. I also create cash envelopes, laminated cash envelopes, and you can put your money in there for all of your variable expenses and your sinking funds. These are all personalized. These can be personalized based on your needs. I've created these cash envelope trackers. So basically what these trackers are for, they track your spending out of each envelope. I usually put these trackers inside of the envelope, and you track what's coming in and what's coming out so that you know what each envelope has. This is just an example. I have a lot of designs. All of these designs vary. These are so essential to have when you're doing your cash envelopes because it keeps them all organized. I can have them hole punched for you. It just all depends on what you are looking for. All of these are available for purchase. If you are interested in them, you can also contact me on Instagram via DM or comment down below. All right, y'all, and that is it. Those were my budgeting steps and the worksheets that I've used to help me manage my money. Guys, I work on my budget a couple of times a week. I look at it to make sure that what I'm spending during the week is reflecting what I had set on my budget. It's very important for you to be looking over your budget a couple times so that reminds you of your goals and where you're at with your money. Like I said, all of my worksheets are available for you to purchase. You can just contact me via Instagram in my DMs, or you can leave a comment down below. You can also contact me in the email I use in my description below, and I will as well proceed with giving you information on where you can access all of these worksheets. So just so you know, these worksheets I do have available as a bundle, and I also can send you this whole packet with the binders and 12 months worth of budget worksheets and trackers and the budget calendars. I also have these and many more cash envelopes that I do personalize, and they also come with these cash trackers that you insert into each envelope, and that helps you manage what is coming out and what is coming in. So again, all of these are custom made. You can just send me a DM or contact me in the email below, and I will give you all the details on how you can purchase these, along with the budget worksheets, expense trackers, and budget calendar. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. I know it was a little bit of a long one, but you know what? It was worth it. I gave you a step-by-step on how I budget. I also want to give a shout out to all of you who have subscribed and liked all my videos and watched all of my videos and enjoyed it. I do this all from love, from the bottom of my heart. If you haven't done so already, give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe, comment down below, tell me your thoughts about this video if you have any questions. I have a lot more videos coming up, and I'll be explaining the cash envelope system and in more details, what do I do when each step. I know it's a long process as far as what I showed in this video, but trust me, it is worth it. Remember, you guys can do this. All it takes is patience, consistency, and remember, you have goals for a reason. You want to achieve something, and you can do it. All it takes is a little bit of planning, and you're all set. Thank you guys so much. See you the next time. Bye.